Welcome to the Darkstream, Vox Day, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. So thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while. I was a bit under the weather on the weekend, and then just been crazy busy in part for reasons that I'll share with you in a minute. But what a first month of the second incarnation of Donald Trump, God Emperor 2.0. And it's such a welcome change from the first month, the first time around. Not everyone learns from their mistakes, but clearly Donald Trump learned a lot from his. Now, is everything perfect? Of course not. I have to admit, I'm getting more than a little bit tired of the inveterate black pillars who, despite all the stuff that he's been doing, try to act like nothing's changed or that nothing's different. I mean, this is the most radical governance that I've ever seen. And I was talking to the legend Chuck Dixon the other day, and he said, "What is wrong with people? I have to pinch myself every day to tell myself I'm not dreaming." He's like, "My governor just announced that there's no more taxes on ammo." And because it's not just what Trump is doing himself, it's what he's inspiring everybody else to do, both people on his side and people on the other side. And now, obviously, there's stuff that we don't understand. There's stuff that we shouldn't understand. The art of governing is not telling everybody exactly what you're going to do and then doing it. We're not children. The whole reason there's an executive branch is so that one man can make decisions and maneuver flexibly. And, a lot of people, for example, have been freaking out about the whole idea of, well, how about we just deport all the Palestinians somewhere else and then the U.S. will rebuild it and take it over. Is it possible that the U.S. could end up doing that? Of course it's possible. Anything's possible. But if there's one thing that we know about Donald Trump, it's that he makes things happen by saying things and then letting other people react to them. If you watch the video, you can see that Netanyahu had no idea that was coming. That is not the plan for greater Israel that they want. Netanyahu's whole idea is, well, the U.S. will send us money and the U.S. will send us weapons, and if we get in over our heads, then the U.S. can send troops and rescue us and then go home, right? What Trump sent was a very strong message that if you drag us into this, we'll just stay here for the next 70 years like we did in Germany. We're not going to have you yanking our chain anymore. The whole idea of, well, Israel gives us a strong base in the Middle East. Well, why not just set up our own territory there? We can have all the bases we want, and who knows? Who knows? Even if it's not just a negotiating thing, maybe, if the Israelis enthusiastically embrace the deportation of the Palestinians, then they can't protest the deportation of their cousins in the United States. Can they? I mean, they would try, obviously. But the point is that regardless of what his actual intentions are, and we don't know what they are, but regardless of what his actual intentions are, he has just completely overturned the situation that was very bad on all sides, and he's created a whole new range of opportunities. And he probably had to do it because of what's going on with Syria, what's happened in Gaza, and that sort of thing. What exactly is maintaining the status quo going to do? Is he going to go directly to cutting off Israel from all foreign aid? He hasn't yet, but he's certainly put that card on the table by not only ending U.S. aid, but demonstrating to all and sundry how absolutely awful and how completely and totally corrupt it is. I mean, the fact that Politico, which is basically a blog like mine, got $32 million, that's insane. I'm very curious to see if the Daily Wire is going to show up on that. The New York Times already has. The BBC already has. I mean, he has just handed everyone in the United States the most cogent argument for ending foreign aid that decades of smart boy essays didn't and haven't. CXP says unknown options change things once those options are made known. Precisely, and that's what he's doing. He's basically saying the status quo is over. The status quo has been terrible for Americans. The path that the United States has been on since about 1965 has been a terrible one. It's the reason that America is no longer great. It's a reason that Americans no longer even know what an American is. I mean, look at those absolute cretins surrounding Bain Books. I was born an American in Portugal. Well, that was Muammar Gaddafi's position. If America is just an idea, then anyone can be an American. To which the correct response should have been, okay, go be an American in Libya. Go be an American in Portugal. You can hold that idea anywhere. Why do you have to be resident here when you can have the idea? Also, how are we policing the boundaries of those ideas? Nobody's denying that people can behave well, work hard, get a passport, become a resident, even become a citizen, and get along fine with everybody. But it doesn't change your genetics. It doesn't change your patterns of behavior that have been programmed into you instinctively over hundreds of generations. The irony is that nobody ever talks about that way concerning practically any other place. The very people who insist that they are real true Americans because they lived in the United States for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. They will tell you that I'm not Swiss. And they're right. My lineage goes back to the American Revolution. My lineage in America actually goes back well before that. I'm part Native American and I'm part American Revolutionary. Now, I can be a good citizen in, whether it's in Japan, whether it's in Italy, whether it's in France, whether it's in Switzerland. I try to be. But I always understand I am fundamentally and intrinsically a guest. But what happened is that in the early 20th century, you got a bunch of these immigrants, the most obnoxious, of course, being the Jews of that period, who didn't like that they weren't part of the mainstream. So, of course, they played their satanic little legal games and declared it's a melting pot. It's a melting pot. It's an idea nation. The people who fought and died and created this wonderful society that everybody wanted to live in didn't even exist. It is one of the most obnoxious things ever. This is why I have such contempt for civic nationalists. What they do is fundamentally as evil and even more subversive than the communists and globalists that deny nations altogether. I mean, think about how obnoxious you have to be to move to a society because that society is better than yours, and then claim that you're just as much a member and a part of that society as the people who made it, and then try to change it. It's reprehensible. It's obnoxious, it's reprehensible, it's evil, and it's totally false. Nation derives from nati, nascere, to be born. And it's not referring to where, it's referring to whom. I absolutely crushed Colonel Tom Kratman when he tried to argue that, posterity. Remember, all the rights in the Constitution apply only and were written only for the protection of the children of the American Revolution. That's it. Nobody else. It's right there in the preamble. They wrote it for themselves and their posterity. Posterity does not mean people that live in the same geographic area that you lived. It doesn't. And I prove that. Because all you have to do is look at how the word was used at that time. Kratman tried to use this legalistic argument that, the law says this now, and blah, blah, blah. And his argument was so bad and so hapless that he was angry at me afterwards. He literally complained and said I was not a friend of his because I had publicly humiliated him so badly. So again, I'm not making this claim solely on the basis of my opinion. I'm talking about the opinion of my opponent. That's how conclusive this argument is. And, I'm sure it makes some of you feel bad that you're like, but my grandparents arrived and they wanted a better life and blah, blah. Look, you can be a good resident, you can be a good guest, you can be a good neighbor, you can be a good friend. You will never, ever be an American. I can go live in China, and my family can live in China for the next 100 years. Unless they intermarry, they will never even be part Chinese. Paper citizenship is not blood. It's just not. And when they talk about blood and soil, the reason soil is important is because if you don't live there, you don't really have the same interests as the people who do. People who live abroad, expats and whatever, shouldn't have any say. I shouldn't have any say. I do. I can still vote in Florida, but I shouldn't be allowed to. I don't even know what the issues in Florida are. you know. So anyhow, that's why I think, and it is true. This, is Trump is a civic nationalist. Why? Because his grandparents were immigrants. But what I will say is that he does love America, and he is really doing his best to serve it well. And that's a great example for all of us who happen to live in countries that are not our own national heritage. Pillavater says you probably voted Democrat in California. Yeah, probably several times. The I mean, it's really astonishing. I read that there's something like they've already ID'd something ridiculous, like 12 million fake ballots for Biden. No, sorry, for Harris this last time. 12 million. And what we're finding is that the numbers are fake. All the numbers are fake. They've been counting illegal aliens, and they've been faking votes and that sort of thing. I mean, for decades, we've thought we were outnumbered. People on the right. We're not. We are the norm. We are the mainstream. It turns out that whole Nixon's silent majority was correct. But this is what happens when you don't police your processes, when you don't police the people that are so helpfully volunteering. Very, very few volunteers can be trusted. And, I mean, obviously there are some good volunteers, but an awful lot of them are there specifically to worm their way in and subvert the processes and the institutions. And that's true of every organization you belong to. That's true of your local school. That's true of your local church. That's probably true of your local Girl Scout squad. And no matter what the institution is that you are involved with, football team, tennis club, whatever, you need to spend at least part of your time policing your community and looking very, very closely at who is there to attempt to significantly alter the purpose of the organization. Who is there to converge it? Because if you allow it to be converged, you will witness it destroyed. I've seen it happen to churches. I've seen it happen to businesses. And I suspect that you have too. So anyhow, I'll get off my soapbox for a few minutes. Some interesting and exciting news. First of all, one of the things that's kept me busy lately is that I was, I should say we, the legend Chuck Dixon and I have been asked to write a script for a film. And actually they asked us to write a treatment, which is just a summary of what it's going to be. And we did that, and it was accepted with enthusiasm. And so, the legend has a movie coming out on March 28th called A Working Man. It's based on the first Levon Cade novel, and I hope all of you will go to see it and support him. It's got Jason Statham. Sylvester Stallone actually wrote the script and adapted the script from Chuck's novel, and there's the trailers has done pretty well, and in fact, let me see if we can. I might even have it here. Let me see if we can watch it. That might work. Okay, I might have downloaded it. We'll see. If not, maybe I can. Bear with me a second. You guys have any interest in seeing this? I mean, have you all seen it already? Or if not, would you like to check it out? This wouldn't work on YouTube, but you know what? We're on unauthorized. We can do what we want. Isn't that nice? Okay. Let's see. I have all kinds of stuff here, but mostly looks like dorking highlights. So, okay, we've got people that want to say, well, I will download it here. I will download it and we will get it up. So just bear with me a second and we will find it. So, YouTube, a working man trailer. There we go. Oh, this is the new trailer apparently. Very exciting. All right, I have copied that. Now I suppose we could play it on YouTube, but I don't want to do that. Okay. There we go. I do not want a... Okay, so it's doing that now. We'll touch base. I think I saw the Grim Hustle guy in the trailer. I don't know what the Grim Hustle guy is. You'll have to fill me in on that. Okay, why are we not... it seems to be taking its time here to download. I don't know why. Should I grab another one? Okay. Oh, this one looks like a better one anyhow. True. But what's exciting is, this is going to open up some new possibilities, I believe. And so I think that it's, what we're doing is we're creating some new stuff. Who knows how it'll go, but the thing is that it's not, one of these, giant studios that takes forever to decide anything. It'll either happen or not within a reasonable period of time. And so Space Bunny, of course, is like, wait, so you're gonna write this with Chuck? And I said, yeah. And she said, okay, is it gonna be like when you write the comics together? I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, when you write like 1 or 2 pages and then Chuck gets impatient and just does the whole thing while he's waiting for you. I said, there's a very good chance that it will go that way, but it's okay. We have our method of cooperation. It works for us. Okay, this is not working, so I'm just going to, I don't know why it's not working, but I'm just going to play it. Oh wait, yeah, it's failed to download for some reason. Probably needs an update, but I'm not going to bother now. What we'll do is we'll just play it on YouTube because I think we can do that. So let's see here. Okay, a man trailer. Okay, now I'm going to turn the sound on here, so hopefully it'll work. We shall see. Never really know about these things, huh? Okay, default speakers on. There we go.
So listen, today's gonna be hard. Let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with. Let's get it. When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job. You were patient with me. You, Carla, Jenny, you're my family.
Excuse me, it's not your business.
I'm good, boss.
Levin, was that some military shit?
Hey, you didn't see anything.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
Jenny's missing.
She went out with her friends on Friday.
The police don't have the resources to work these cases. They take a report and forget about it.
Please, find our daughter. Where's the girl?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
Yo, these guys are next level.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play. This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking. Remember Gunny?
Your blind ward buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. M14. Pulled direct from Saddam's palace. Then I added a Bluetooth scope.
Where is she?
There's a special place, high rollers only. They can do anything as long as they pay.
Gangs, the mob, corrupt government officials, they're all involved in human trafficking. You're in the payroll too.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home.
That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife.
That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you? What are you?
So I think that we can all agree that Levon Cade probably needs some lessons in peaceful conflict resolution. If you've read the Levon Cade novels, and I've read all 12 now, there's a lot of action, and so it's going to be interesting to see how how much they kind of water things down a little bit, or they definitely Hollywoodized the dialogue a little, and Levon Cade is actually a former Marine and a Alabama redneck, not a British Royal Marine, but I think that when you have an opportunity to have Jason Statham play your action hero, you probably have to take it. So now what's interesting, and this is what factors into what Chuck and I have been doing lately, is that it took them 10 years to get that started. 10 years. And in the intervening 10 years, he's written 11 sequels. And so that's not, and obviously with regards to the whole Rebels Run debacle, we want to stay very, very far away from the financing side. We're not going to be asking the community for any help or assistance or support, unless, of course, there's people who are interested in, say, the graphic novels and stuff, because, of course, Arkhaven will be doing any related graphic novels and that sort of thing. So the opportunity is really fantastic, and the Legend and I are both actually pretty excited about the possibilities if everything works well. But so far things have gone better and much more quickly than I had ever imagined. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, this is not going to detract from any of the stuff that we're already doing. Like I said, Id Prism says, "Wow, that's a long time for a project. Typical of films." Yeah, it is. It's typical of any medium to large project that isn't obvious. You know, so for example, let's look at Neil Gaiman's Sandman to bring up something that's been in the news lately. Sandman was published in the early 80s, and it's been done. It's been completely done for more than, I think, 20 years, and they just started making stuff. They just they just did the first Netflix season like 2 years ago. So anything that isn't Harry Potter, anything that isn't, you know, a massive big success. I mean, look at Cixin Liu's books, which, you know, came out of China, were a big deal, nominated for best novel, all that sort of thing, had the advantage of appealing to the Chinese market and that sort of thing. Most people don't even realize that the first movie or series was made and is out. And so, anyhow, we're not interested in pursuing the blockbuster category. You know, Rebels Run was a kind of an attempt to start working up towards that. I think what we'd prefer to do is do more smaller projects. I know for sure that's what we want to do. You know, sitting around waiting 10 years for, you know, the big money people to get together all the various pieces and just to see it all crapped on the way that it would if you go with Amazon or whatever. You know, what would be the point? What would be the point? I thought Working Man was going to be about that day that Vox rented a truck for the bindery. Yeah, you know, it's really about me. Actually, Chuck and I were there's a funny routine, rather vulgar, but it's funny. There's a black comedian who does a funny routine on Jason Statham, and talks about how all the stuff that he does is work on, you know, it's all the beekeeper, the transport, you know, the transporter. I transport things. The beekeeper, I'll keep bees. Now he's just going full generic, you know. I'm a working man. I work here. And so we ended up looking at that and stuff, and we started joking about how you could do a villain called the Bookbinder, because when you think about it, a bookbinder would be an absolutely terrifying villain. He's got a laser guided guillotine. He's got presses that deliver anywhere between 30 and 60 tons of force. All kinds of hot glue, and then of course you don't want to know what he does to his enemies, because he's got a library in there and it's not goat skin. So anyhow, one of these days we may have to explore those possibilities. A glue plot? What's it? What's the glue made out of? Horses. So anyhow, it's gonna be a lot of fun. By the way, the Working Man is coming out on March 28th, and so I'll probably do a stream. I'll probably have Chuck on a stream and talk to him about it, and maybe we'll be able to talk a little bit about our new project by then. We'll see. Again, depends on how quickly it goes. And what I can tell you is that we're going to be doing, and don't worry, we're going to get the stuff shipped before then. We've already got some of the stuff ordered. Is we're going to be doing after the release of the movie, we're going to do a major Chuck Dixon, Arkhaven, Castalia related crowdfund that you're not going to want to miss. So 1882 says the bookbinder is horrifying. Yeah, I know. It's just kind of funny. It was amusing. One of my favorite things when we first started setting up the bindery was telling people that I have a laser guided guillotine. I feel like, okay, why? So anyhow, we are getting very, very close. We're down to one thing left that we need to do. And so I'm hoping we're waiting to get proper electricity to one of the key machines. And once we do that, then hopefully we will be good and ready to go. So, but it's going to be interesting to see. I was hoping to find I had some pictures I was hoping to show you guys of the hubs. Apparently, I haven't actually seen the finished pictures yet, but apparently we do have the first finished hubbed books. So, so we're getting close on both Dracula and on the Cambridge history of Byzantium. Very close. Believe me, if you're feeling annoyed that at the delay, so are we. But that's what it is. That's where we are. And then one more thing for tonight. I'm rather pleased to be able to say that Mr. Tubcuddle has been released. It should be showing up on Spotify. It's already on YouTube, and all 3 mixes. And I'm going to play you the new hot water mix today. Since you're all on unauthorized, obviously you can listen to and download Coraline's Eyes mix, which is kind of the more funk oriented one. The Corinthian mix, which is Southern rock. And hot water, I'll let you determine for yourself what it is. But this is Mr. Tubcuddle by Vibe Patrol. And this particular mix is the hot water mix.
Mr. Tubcuddle is a cleanly man. He takes a bath wherever he can. He drives a white and unmarked van, don't forget it. If it's cold or if it's hotter, don't you dare get in the water. Even if you are his daughter, you'll regret it. Beware that creepy evil grin. If he asks you, don't encourage him. Don't even think of getting in the water. Mr. Tubcuddle is a famous man. You might think you're his biggest fan. Love Coraline and the Sandman. It's a bad idea. I'm not saying he's a creep, but he preys upon the weak, and he'll put you right to sleep if you let him. It's not a good way to unwind. If you value your behind, you'll just wish you had declined when he asked you. You don't want to join the club. There's no bubbles in the tub. Just say no, it's no trouble. You don't want to join the club. There's no bubbles in the tub. Just say no, Mr. Tubcuddle. I'm not saying he's the worst, just don't think that you're the first. He's got a sociopathic thirst, don't forget it. But if you fail to stay away and found yourself in disarray, don't sign that secret NDA, you'll regret it. You don't want to join the club. There's no bubbles in the tub. Just say no, it's no trouble. You don't want to join the club. There's no bubbles in the tub. Just say no, Mr.
I don't know what that happened there. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. Artex says it's catchy. It is very catchy. That's actually the lead mix. It'll be on Spotify probably tomorrow, as well as like a whole bunch of other music platforms that I've never heard of. I don't know what CXP means by Blink 182. No, that's obviously not Blink 182 because it's an original song. But yeah, it's very sort of late 90s, early 2000s, pop rock. So unlike the other two mixes, but the link is there in the chat. You can check it out there if you like. The white version of Cosby. Talking about the music, gaming. Yeah, and of course, on the off chance that you hadn't heard about it yet, the victim of his tub cuddling assault, the tub cuddle if you will, Scarlett. I don't know what her last name is. Anyhow, she's filed a lawsuit against him, a civil lawsuit against him and against his ex-wife Amanda Palmer. So anyhow, hopefully that will go well for her, and hopefully they'll at least get through the discovery phase before they go to settlement, because I personally believe that she is very, very, very far from the only victim. And we know she's not the only victim, but I'm betting that there's a bunch of other ones. Anybody who behaves like that isn't behaving like that for the first time. So anyhow, I've got a dog who wants to go outside, and so I will wish you all a good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out Mr. Tub Cuddle when it comes out, or you can find it here on Unauthorized. So have a good evening, and let's look forward to see what more wonders God Emperor 2.0 has for us the rest of the week. I'll be on tomorrow night here on Unauthorized on Archaven Nights with JDA, so we'll have a lot to discuss. Have a good evening. I'm Vox Day, and this is The Darkstream.